Fiancé wants prenup. My 26F, finance, 30 meters, wants me to sign a prenup. Initially I agreed as I love him and I'm not after his money. He is currently making just under double my salary and I pay my own bills, my half of joint expenses and for anything I need personally, shoes, food, etc. I've never asked him for a dime or complained about what I pay. He worked hard to make his salary and I wouldn't ever take that from him. The issue is that he is now asking that when we get married I quit my job so I can raise the babies we will have because he doesn't want them in daycare. My issue is that the prenup he is suggesting states that 70% of his income goes into a personal account and the other 30% is what I would have access to for the children, groceries, my bills and myself. Anything that's left would technically be transferable to my own account but that doesn't really leave that much. He doesn't want a time limit, after 8 years the prenup is void, or anything like that and he doesn't want to add a clause to protect me if he decides to cheat/leave me.
He thinks that my lack of desire to sign this agreement proves that I only want money but I honestly just want to be protected and not have the possibility of being out with literally nothing. I don't make enough money at my current job to justify putting a child in daycare. I'd only have about $200 per month left over. How should I go about this situation? Should I ask for a sunset clause and time limit or should I just ask that his income be our income where I have access to it from the get-go? I'm wondering, should I even marry this man if he's comfortable putting me in this situation?
A prenup is supposed to cover both of you. I saw another post here where the man wanted the woman to do the same thing, so she said okay, if you want me to give up my career and financial security to raise your kids, he had to pay her up to a certain amount of what she would be losing by being a SOM. He's trying to guilt you into not wanting to be seen as a gold digger, that you'll sign a prenup that does nothing for you and everything for him.
A prenup is supposed to protect both of you. Get a lawyer and draw up one to counter his. Becoming a SOM puts you in a dependent, vulnerable situation and your future at risk if your marriage doesn't work out. Your gut is already telling you he doesn't have your best interests at heart with the prenup. Take a page out of his book and protect your interests. Don't quit your job.
I don't make enough money at my current job to justify putting a child in daycare. I'd only have about $200 left over. Do you mean daycare costs your income? After tax, 401k, insurance, etc., by $200 United States dollars? Well, good thing is that you would not be the only one responsible for it. Your fiancé should cover half of it. Also, over the years I assume you would be promoted, get raises, etc. to offset that? Meanwhile, he wants to put you off the job market completely, with no means to secure your retirement if he decides to divorce you. I would definitely discuss the prenup with my attorney and seek a solution that would protect my future. Otherwise, I would absolutely never agree to give up my career.
I wouldn't marry a man who doesn't have an inherent sense of fairness.
My issue is that the prenup he is suggesting states that 70% of his income goes into a personal account and the other 30% is what I would have access to for the child. Rent, groceries, my bills and myself. Don't marry this guy. He is looking out for himself, then he is looking out for you and his potential children. This is not how a relationship should be like. My wife and I are married. I make double what my wife makes. Both of our incomes are deposited in the same joint account and we pay everything from that account. I'm wondering, should I even marry this man if he's comfortable putting me in this situation? Follow your instinct. Please don't marry this guy and be his cheap incubator. The fact he won't add an infidelity clause is the answer you need right there. Him cheating isn't something he's sure he won't do, which is why he doesn't want the clause in the prenup. In addition, his reaction to you stating you're not protected shows he won't and will not value your work as a stay-at-home mom. Don't trap yourself and be stuck with no income and end up barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen. Hire your own lawyer to look over the prenup and have your best interests listed. TBH, though, the rejection of the cheating clause would put me off and I'd leave. It's really not wise to be financially dependent on someone. If you're not 100% interested in being a stay-at-home mom, don't do it. Next. His terms are ridiculous. You get 30% to take care of all expenses for you and the kids plus groceries and bills, and he gets 70% to do whatever he wants? That right there is a road to financial abuse. I wouldn't sign it either. And I sure as hell wouldn't quit my job. To be honest, I wouldn't marry or procreate with someone who had this kind of attitude. There is a standard prenup that has what you want, then there is this. He wants to control you and is using the contract to do it. Leaving your job when you get married to raise babies you don't even have is idiotic. If you want to marry him, make sure you get what you want in the prenup. The term limit, him leaving or cheating, and not be put in about you not having a job. That should be your choice, not his. Just because he makes the money doesn't mean you don't get to protect yourself. If he can't support your choices, then your last sentence means a lot. Maybe he isn't the right guy for you. See a lawyer. A family lawyer, to be specific. It's to protect him too. Prenups that aren't written correctly, or are too one-sided, or in some states where the lower income person didn't see a lawyer first. Bargaining power inequity, are all subject to invalidation. I'm sure he wants his prenup to be valid, right? And I'm sure you want a professional opinion on what's fair, right? So again, see a lawyer.
It's nice when they give you early warning of their intended financial abuse.
If you want another opinion on what a fair prenup would look like, consult your own lawyer. His proposal not only screws you over, but your future children as well. It's pretty clear that he does not view you as a full partner, which is a crappy way to start a marriage. He sounds like an entitled jerk.
Walk away. And fast, like running fast. He wants you to lose independence, no money, no work. I don't see signs of good faith here. I like your last thought. Should I even marry this man if he's comfortable putting me in this situation? Quote. Dude, he sounds so fucking selfish. Are you sure you want to marry this guy? Tell him that you are not going to be quitting your job. And until the prenup takes that into consideration, and includes a sunset clause, you will not be signing. Feel free to have your own prenup made to protect you. You are being manipulated. So he wants you to stay home to do all of the childcare, home chores, cooking, etc. You are going to end up with no career, no retirement fund, and be entirely dependent on him. On top of that, he is going to control 70% of the money, which is a lot. So it's not an equal partnership. Don't you have a lawyer? This prenup is not standard and it seems to put you in a difficult situation. You should have a lawyer negotiating for you and making sure this is even legal. Some things. You shouldn't think that if you work you'd be left with $200. He would be paying part of the childcare. It wouldn't come all from your check. If he is making almost double your salary, your bills and expenses should be split by percent, not 50-50. Are you saying you are splitting everything 50-50 when he is making double? If you want to stay home, you can put a time on that. Like, I'm going to be home between the birth of the baby and when the kid turns 2 years old. But you should make him make contribution to your retirement fund for all of the money you'll be missing when you are a stay-at-home parent. The issue is that he is now asking that when we get married I quit my job so I can raise the babies we will have because he doesn't want them in daycare. My issue is that the prenup he is suggesting states that 70% of his income goes into a personal account and the other 30% is what I would have access to for the child. Rent, groceries, My bills and myself. Anything that's left would technically be transferable to my own account. This part emo screams, let this controlling, manipulate person go on and find someone else to marry. Question. Is he making 6 figures or above? I'm just wondering BC, it seems like this is overkill with what he is asking. Prenups are supposed to protect both parties. Have it reviewed by a really good lawyer before you sign anything. Also, single mom to 3 kids. They're going to cost more than what he is allotting. And emo, he shouldn't be allowing you many to take care of kids in the house. That's what my grandfather did with my grandmother, and they were married in the 1950s. I would not marry someone who wants to screw me over. I bet he also wants you to do 100% of the housework and childcare too, since he's the one earning an income. Don't sign that and absolutely re-evaluate this relationship.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Eracast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.